If there was one thing I would recommend you buy to improve your video and photo quality for a drone that you might have just purchased, it would be ND filters. Hey, if we haven't met, my name's Sloan, and I create content here on YouTube for solo creators on the go. People like me who are out exploring their world, want to tell better stories, so I do reviews of equipment that makes that process easier, and tips and tutorials on how to use that equipment. Today we're talking about filters, ND filters. Why do you need ND filters? Really simple. Let's see. Maybe I could do this in 30 seconds or less. An ND filter basically controls the amount of light hitting your sensor. This is a variable ND, and so you can see as I turn it, less light starts coming through it. That is useful for being able to control your shutter speed in bright environments. You always want to keep your shutter speed when you're filming to be 2 times your frame rate. So if you're filming at 24, you want it at 48. 50 is generally what you'll find. If you're filming at 30, then you want it at 60, and so on. That gives you the most natural looking motion blur and helps you to avoid the moire effect or really stuttery looking video when things are moving fast, and especially in highly detailed areas. And then we come to circular. Okay, look, I'm going to stop you right there. You're way over 30 seconds. You haven't covered gradient filters or circular polarized filters yet. Yeah, I know, but I have some really good examples of gradient filters and circular polarized filters coming up later in the video. So could you just let me get back to it? All right, they better be good, and you better make it snappy. We don't have all day to do this. Well, you're right. But first, we should probably do the disclaimer. Yeah, let's roll the disclosure. Disclosure. Some of these filters were sent to me by from Freewell, and some of them I bought myself from Freewell. They are not paying for this review. They didn't ask me to say anything other than to give my honest feedback and opinion about these filters and to tell you about them. Now, ND filters are useful for controlling the amount of light hitting the sensor, but there are other filters called circular polarized filters that if you want to control the amount of reflections or light being reflected off of things like leaves, water, the saturation of the blue in the sky, then you move into circular polarized filters. As you can see in this clip here, that as I turn the circular polarization, the amount of saturation in the sky changes drastically, but also notice between this clip here and this clip here, how much reflection there is on the water. So if you're wanting to film and control the amount of reflections, you can use these to film with, and it does definitely change the amount of saturation you see in sky and leaves. But I find that circular polarized filters are actually really useful in photography, especially if you're doing photography on water, because you can control the amount of reflection and thus the amount of saturation when you're filming on water or lakes. Or if you want to cut the reflections down and be able to see down into the water a little bit, that's what they're useful for as well. Now, Freewell offers a lot of different options for drones, but the two I want to talk about specifically today are the variable ND filters for the Mavic 2 Pro and the gradient filters for the Mavic 2 Pro, because these are really useful when you're filming in certain environments and when you're taking photos in certain environments. Now, the variable filters for the Mavic 2 Pro are really well made and they do a great job. The nice thing about it too is that if you don't want to carry a large case like this in your backpack, then you basically only have to take 2 filters with you and you have pretty much everything you need is covered, unless you plan to do very specific types of photography. You can see as I'm adjusting it here that it's controlling the amount of light coming in. Now, the Mavic 2 Pro does have a variable aperture as well, but I find it really starts to change the image at the extreme ends. And so what I like to do is put the variable ND on, adjust it to about where I want it, and then as I'm flying through different environments, I can adjust the aperture and get much more control over my image when I'm flying with the Mavic 2 Pro. The one downside of these is that I do see a little bit of banding at the extreme ends of the variable ND. Now, that's not uncommon. I find the same is true with the big variable NDs, whether it's from Freewell or from other brands. And whether they have stops or not, I always find there's just a little bit of banding at the extreme ends. Something that I never thought I would try is gradient filters for drones. I just didn't think that they would make that much of a difference until Freewell sent these to me and I went out and took some photos with them. If you're shooting any photos or filming anything that has an extremely bright area and an extremely dark area, like trees in the foreground that are dark and then snow-covered mountains or white clouds or really bright blue sky, then gradient filters will help you out tremendously, especially in photos. If you look at this photo here, this photo is taken with the Mavic 2 Pro, no filters at all, just everything on auto. Then I brought the Mavic 2 Pro, put one of these gradient filters on there, and took the same exact photo in as close to the same position as I could get with also all auto settings. And you can see the amount of difference, the amount of detail, and what you can see in the foreground where it used to be extremely dark is now really, really nicely lit. The gradient filters are fantastic for photos. And like I said, they do work for filming, but you have to be careful with your horizon line because of the way they're set up. Now, Freewell also sent me the Mavic Air 2 all-day pack, which is very similar to the Skydio all-day pack, or the Mavic 2 Pro all-day pack, or the Mavic 2 Zoom all-day pack, in that it has 3 ND filters that are ND4, 8, and 16, a circular polarized filter, and then also a combination circular polarized ND filter for 8, 16, 32, and 64. I've been using Freewell filters for about 3 years now, and I have to say they're really well built. They are durable, they last a long time. The glass is an excellent quality glass. There's no aberrations or weirdness that comes through, no odd color shifts or anything that you often find with cheaper ND filters. And the coatings that they put on them do a really good job of handling dust, water, dirt. Now, before you say, of course you're going to recommend Freewell products, they send you free filters all the time, that's true. They did send me these for the Mavic 2 Pro, these for the Mavic Air 2, and these for the Skydio. And I really appreciate that because they're fantastic products. But this filter here, which is for my main camera, I purchased myself. These filters here, which are for my Osmo Action, I purchased myself. And these filters, which are for my GoPro 7, which is now no longer with me because it went down in a lake with my FPV drone, I also purchased myself. I highly recommend Freewell products because I've been using them since before they started sending me free filters. I like them a lot. They are long lasting. They handle a lot of abuse really well. And they are a great product at an affordable price. Now, if you want to improve your drone videography and photography, I put together a short playlist right here of other videos that I've made taking you through how you can improve your videos using drones, how you can improve your drone videography and photography. If you've got questions, ask me in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. And I will see you again soon in the next video. Cheers.